The Botanical Center is to my left, but the body of this 40-year-old woman was found near the parking lot back behind me.
Sitting in traffic, we've all wanted to have a magic button to push.
Abbott wants to get home as soon as possible, but her doctors say she still has a long road ahead. I can tell you people are very pumped here at the Seaport Hotel in Boston. Hernandez also rented jet skis from here and then took them out on the harbor for 2 hours. They hope more students will take more time to be on the lookout.
The league agreed to a pitch
That puts them here at the Prison Industries building. This is where authorities tell us Kiris Pena, just started to walk away. The 87-year-old was born here in South Dakota. Then she moved to Nebraska. First, I want to talk about the damage from this explosion. It's very extensive. I'm going to step out of the way just so you can see what I'm talking about. You can actually look inside somebody's home.
Well, for the first time tonight and only here on NBC 10, the explosion victim is talking.
He's talking exclusively to NBC 10's Sierra Putman about how he's doing and how his little girl and football are helping him overcome one of the worst moments of his life.
1, 2, 3.
Football
1, 2, 3.
and this little girl are the two things Ruben Gonzalez loves most in this world.
I'm a diehard football fan. I'm a diehard New England fan.
Last November 5th, this home explosion almost took both away from him.
Always gets a little emotional, but
For the first time, Ruben tells his story.
it was around 10 o'clock in the morning.
He and his then girlfriend, Ruby Oliveras, were living in an apartment on Mineral Spring Avenue in Pawtucket with their 8-month-old daughter, Leilani. That morning, Ruby hopped in the shower while Ruben put Leilani in her playpen so he could make brownies.
As soon as I opened that oven door, it just blew me back. Like, all I saw was a flash. When I heard my daughter, that first cry, when you hear an 8-month-old and you hear that cry, it sounds like she's burning to death. I'm telling you, you don't care about what happens to you.
Ruben was rushed to Rhode Island Hospital. 70% of his body was burned. It's graphic, but this picture shows just how far he's come. Leilani was treated next door at Hasbro Children's Hospital. Ruby spoke exclusively to me shortly after the explosion. A year later, she doesn't talk about that horrible November day.
I don't like reliving it. I, unfortunately, didn't get hurt. I just had to watch the most important thing in my life suffer and then watch him suffer. Mentally, she's so young, so they have high hopes. But for now, she's pretty much my fearless toddler.
A fearless little girl who inspired her father to get out of the hospital before January.
That means I'm gonna miss my daughter's first Christmas, and that wasn't gonna happen.
He was released after a month and a half. It was a bright spot in their rocky year-long journey. 1 year later, you can see all that's left of 420 Mineral Spring Avenue is this empty lot. Now, the state determined that it was an accident that caused the explosion. It was due to a natural gas leak, but the fire department tore down the building before it could determine what the source of that leak was. For now, Ruben's focusing on his daughter getting better and football.
Ready? 1. Now.
Love of family and football helps him conquer bouts of depression, PTSD, and countless doctor's visits.
You know, God gave me a second chance. He blessed me.
You don't get over it. You just have to deal with it.
Sierra Putman, NBC 10 News. Despite the clear blue skies and singing birds, death lingers on Blackstone Street in Woonsocket.
Residents are dying out here, and the city apparently doesn't care.
David Dinsmore and his wife decided to put up this Grim Reaper Sunday to express their anger. Some drive by to admire their work.
It's very honest, it's very true.
Others grudgingly deal with it.
I don't like it. Why not? I just don't.
Like it or not, the message is loud and clear.
Come on here and invest in this city. We have a lot to offer. Number 1 in foreclosure. Our water and sewer systems suck. We have no freedom.
Dinsmore and his wife are angry. They have to go to housing court for zoning violations from last November. You may remember this. He built an unlicensed haunted house last year. He was told to take it down and clean it up, but then the city cited him again. Dinsmore thinks it's retribution.
We've been told no matter what we do, the city is going to ride us.
The sheriff served these papers to the Dinsmores Thursday, telling them they had to show up to housing court. But one day before their Wednesday appearance, well, inspectors were here again. City Solicitor Michael Marcello sat down with NBC 10 News.
Mr. Dunsmore and his wife, are they being targeted? Because that's what they seem to think.
No, absolutely not.
Marcello says the couple was served because they didn't respond to the initial notice.
And we were forced to serve him with this summons.
Dinsmore says he's fixed many of the issues. If the citations are a tactic to keep him quiet, Dinsmore says it's not going to work.
So I don't know what to do. I express myself through my displays.
Reporting in Woonsocket, Sierra Putman, NBC 10 News. It's not fair. That's what Hernandez's defense attorney said today in court, but the magistrate says, like it or not, this is the way things go. Aaron Hernandez's arraignment started like most, but ended with his defense team accusing the prosecution of trying to taint the jury pool.
It's not fair. Whether the defendant is a football player or a poor person, he's entitled to the court's assistance in securing him a fair trial.
I could not envision a proceeding where the press would not be invited to attend. We do not operate behind closed doors.
Minutes before Aaron Hernandez walked into the courtroom, he's accused of committing a double murder back in 2012. The families of Daniel De Abreu and Safira Furtado sat right behind him, openly weeping.
How do you plead this indictment? Are you guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
The prosecution says it has a mountain of evidence, including the SUV Hernandez was driving that night, surveillance video, cell phone satellite data, and even an eyewitness.
The defendant stated to his friend, quote, "I think I got one in the head and one in the chest," end quote.
The prosecution says Hernandez thought the men were disrespecting him after one of them accidentally spilled his drink. They say the slight caused Hernandez to follow and open fire on the men.
The defendant immediately fired at least 5 rounds from a .38 caliber revolver into the victim's car.
Hernandez is currently locked up for the 2013 murder of Odin Lloyd. Despite multiple pending murder cases, the former tight end's girlfriend was in court standing by the father of her child, watching his defense team try to protect him.
We don't ask to be treated differently. Just give us a fair trial.
He's due back in a courtroom on June 24th. Reporting in Boston, Sierra Putman, NBC 10 News.